Mother's Day to all the mothers out there and the mothers that are not that do motherly things that aren't, I guess, technically mothers by giving birth. But if you're a mother figure, happy Mother's Day. Hope you enjoy your day and getting whatever done around the house or whatever you like getting done. But this is Jay Foreman. I am bringing you Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. We appreciate their support. And I got my somewhat co-partner at times, Nick Sainer, sitting here on the 1-2. Harrison's out sick a little bit, and Nick's decided to bless us, Mr. Upgrade, here on Inside the Huddle.
Jay, we don't have to refer to that every single time that we're on the air.
Yes, I do.
We can just be nice and chill and laid back about it.
No,
people don't even need to know.
Everybody knows. Everybody starts to wonder.
Everybody knows because of you.
Everybody knows because when you start, I've heard when you start showing up places that when you start to walk inside, the sunglasses go on.
No.
And stuff like that. But it's all good. And it's a it's a unique time here in Lincoln as far as football goes and sports goes, just because the spring game was we had the spring game wrap up, obviously, which was great, for the team. And now it's kind of that dead period to where, finals need to get done. I think school's going to be out within a week or two. And, I'm sure there's a little bit of scheduled time off for the players. And I think for teams like Nebraska or Nebraska situation versus, say, like teams like Ohio State, they're in the same situation, but they're not. And the reason why I say that, Nick, is because let's look at a team like Ohio State, let's Georgia, Oregon, let's just the known teams that are probably in the top 5, Ole Miss and all those teams. So this dead period, I think, for me, I wouldn't call it the dead period, but I just talk about, the spring game is over. That's like your first big checklist thing, or your second one. First is winter conditioning, then spring ball.
Yeah.
And then now you're waiting to start summer workouts because you're starting to work out towards the first goal, which is obviously the first game. I feel these after the spring game, whenever that may be, because some are really early and some are a little bit late, like ours was. Those 2 weeks that you supposedly have off, let's just say it's 2 weeks, are the most crucial 2 weeks in your off season, in your summer off season. And it's no different for Nebraska versus the teams that I mentioned that are preseason or potentially going to be preseason at the top of the rankings, because Nebraska needs those 2 weeks not to just be quote unquote off.
Yeah.
To gain an edge, keep the momentum, but then also double down on your culture and the good things that you've done throughout winter conditioning and spring ball, right? So you're trying to work your way up.
That's the thing, is how do you operate in the summer? Because you can't, you don't want to leave.
You do and you don't. You want it to have to be scheduled, but it can't be. Here's the thing I always say, and I won't bring you into this because we've had this conversation.
Go ahead, Jay.
You know what? We're in the Inside the Huddle, and let me turn my mic up.
Your headphones.
Yeah, headphones, right? I got to hear myself here. There's an old saying, and this is where you want to change the mentality. And I won't say any names, but somebody that was actually going to leave this country, say if you're going to leave on a Friday, technically they already left on Monday. You know what I'm saying, Nick?
Okay.
Yeah. So how do you operate? You do have scheduled time off because you want to make sure you can recharge your batteries, and that's what you're doing right now. So if you're working out, it's obviously probably not a team mandatory type of deal, but it's you don't want to lose it. Mm-hmm. And that even goes if you have to get into and doing your treatment and rehab. That's your job. That's your workouts. Because you're going to be doing some activities during that time. So the summer is very unique because a lot of the onus does fall on the players, because the structure of getting up, say, you have practice or, school, then practice or workouts, vice versa. And then you have maybe some team functions or team get-togethers, or you watch stuff together, is a little bit different, because if you're in summer school, at least from my recollection, which is decades and decades ago, years ago. I know. That if you generally take 1 or 2 per summer school sessions, maybe 1 or 2 classes. Yeah. So there's a lot more free time.
It feels like there's a lot of player leadership discovered
Yes.
and grown in the summer.
Yeah.
Because and that's the case at, I think, multiple levels: high school, college, anything, especially high school and college, because coaches can't be involved.
Yeah.
Certain coaches can't be involved. And so it takes the player leadership. It has to step up, or you guys are going to, basically drown.
Or you're going to get passed by.
Yeah.
And it could happen like that. And the reason why I say the 2 weeks, especially when we look at it, Ohio State they're fighting preseason accolades, right? So that can create entitlement and make you soft.
Yeah.
Then you're fighting some demons as well, but from what they like to call the team up north, because the team up north is saying, we lost our coach, but we still have the DNA to kick your butt, and we've done it 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And Coach Osborne used to always tell us, you're only as good as your last game, the last time you linked up. Michigan's the national champions. Ohio State, you got all the excuses in the world. So these 2 weeks is huge for them, because you got to be able to keep that edge, grow that edge, and then also recognize you have some weaknesses, right? That you might want to do a better job of hiding them, or you want to say, listen, hey, Jay Foreman and Nick Sainer, you need to step it up. You had a okay spring, but if you want to play and be a factor and go to where we say we want to go, right?
Yeah.
This 2 weeks and this offseason is huge, and it starts as soon as that spring game is over. And I think this is probably a thing at all levels, and this is what really hurts a lot of athletes. They think once like the game is over, it's over. You're not, I think I call it the light switch mentality, right? Or, in some ways you want to always be on, right? But I think you can't turn it on and off. It's just who you are. Like, look, you're a catcher. So everything that you did in your high school career, that's what you did. That's just how you kind of operate. I was a football player. That's your type of mentality. That's in your DNA.
Well, and back to your point of it's sometimes you need to have the conversation with a couple of guys, whether it's Jay or Nick or both of them. And if their answer is, well, I don't want to contribute, I don't want to have what it takes. Why
you gotta
are you
go.
Here?
Oh yeah.
Why are you here?
Yeah,
but that doesn't always have to be coach versus player. That needs to be player versus player at some point.
Yeah.
Because then it sends a message to all the other guys in the locker room.
Right. And you got in leadership, true leadership is not comfortable. It's not. And there's two different ways to look at this also. You have to have a guy that if I'm truly invested in something, Nick, I can question you and challenge you, inspire you, pat you on the back, all while being Jay Foreman, right? As long as it's not personal, right? I like you personally, but I might not like the way that you go about your business. So I'm gonna have a problem with it because I'm giving 150%. And
because you've taken care of yourself,
right?
Because they can't come back at you and say, "Well, you're not doing this."
Right. Exactly. Now, will I mess up at times?
Yeah.
Sure. But here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hold myself accountable, right? If I make a mistake, I'm gonna be accountable. But I'm gonna make sure, listen, I'm gonna be on time, I'm gonna be early. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do and then do extra. I'm going to eat all my meat. I'm going to do everything I need to do in order to be the best player that I can be for me and you. Now, if you're not doing that, then I got to come see you. And there's nothing. That's the uncomfortable part. You remember a few years ago when Alabama was on a mission after they lost the national championship, and they had, I think Reggie Ragland was the linebacker then. And they had a player on the team, and I forget, he played. He wasn't a starter, and he was late to curfew. Right down, I think it was down in Atlanta. It was one of the first college football. Sent him home.
Gone.
They went and told Coach Saban, and I think Kirby Smart was there. So it was quite a while ago. He needs to go.
Yeah,
because you're not in this to win it, right? Yeah. Now here's the flip side to that: being uncomfortable, right? You don't want leaders that are comfortable only leading when the coaches are around.
Yeah.
And it's hard to decipher. I'm sure the coaches wish they could have like little cameras or something. You know what I mean? And here's an example. If the only thing that you can do as a leader is lead, like yell, call somebody out when the coaches are around, or say like in spring, like the 15, 20 minutes in the media, if that's all you can do, you're part of the problem as well. Because I can guarantee you those guys aren't either living up to their expectations, that like what I mentioned before, or they haven't played up to their capabilities.
Yeah.
Now, those guys, those type of leaders, you got to pull them in as a senior leader like me or a higher up and say, listen, I understand maybe your intention is right, but your way you're going about it wrong. So I think it's huge for the teams to really find out who they are, and some leaders can rise up out of the from the depths as well. Maybe you had a good spring, and maybe you've been waiting to see how well you do as a spring, and you start to get that confidence, and the light goes on at different stages. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you could be a player that maybe have earned playing time during the spring, and you're a, let's just say, a co-starter. But then as you start to go on in the off season, you've passed somebody based on the amount of work you've put in. And then you should not feel any way about saying something to another player. So this is a unique time for the University of Nebraska. I know that they had some official visitors in.
Yeah.
Well, they had one dude, Sanders.
David Sanders.
Hey, and he's from H-Town too.
Number
no,
one,
he's from Charlotte.
Number
from
one,
Charlotte.
number one offensive lineman in the country.
Yeah, and he's not just. And the thing about it, Nick, is that he's not just. Remember when Micah Parsons came here and those guys?
I remember vividly.
Right, and was it Bookie or whatever?
There was that whole group of like T.J. Pledger, Chase Williams, who was a current commit. He ended up going to USC.
Yeah.
You had Mario Goodrich, who ended up going to Clemson. We saw him in the championship games a couple of times. I already mentioned T.J. Pledger, Bookie,
all
Micah
the Calabas
Parsons.
guys. It was like, and all those guys literally came to, and I understood why we were doing it. The Friday Night Lights. I understood it, to bring notoriety or some eyes to the University of Nebraska's football program. But let's be honest, they were coming here to get Twitter. That was like
Micah Parsons was a there was a chance.
It was a very small chance.
Very small.
It was minute.
It went away when Mike Riley got fired.
And it was but it was
minute at it.
It was minute. It was the same chances of me playing in the MLB, and I didn't play past 10th grade.
You forget that though. He had that whole situation with Ohio State and college game day.
Yeah.
So Ohio State was forced to get out of the running. So then it was just like Penn State or Nebraska, and Nebraska was going through a coaching change after they fired, or after you kind of knew.
And they got rid of Banker too, because Banker had a relationship with him. So there was a chance.
They were visiting just to visit.
They were
that's the way to say it. David Sanders is not, because there's that relationship with somebody named Dylan Raiola.
Yes, and that's where I was going, because those guys were, a lot of them coming. The Calabat, everybody came here, and that was when you wanted to, like, you got credibility on like Twitter like as a player. Oh, how many followers you got? I got 20,000. Well, if you came to Nebraska in the Friday Night Lights, you come in with 5,000, leave with 20,000. That wasn't truly indicative of like, okay, we're grown as a program. Sanders coming is a true indication that we're growing as a program.
Well, and I mean, not to mention, I don't get caught up in the top 6s, top 15s, top 10s, or anything like that. No. But he did release one, and Nebraska was nowhere on that list.
Yeah.
The type of programs that were on the list were the ones that were competing for national championships. Right. And out of the blue, here he announces on whatever day it was, Wednesday or Thursday of last week, hey, I'm coming to Lincoln this weekend.
Yeah.
A week removed from an Ohio State visit.
Right. And so that, I bet you if you did that updated list, Nebraska would pop up on there.
There you go.
Guys like him don't go on visits at this point in time.
No.
And I'm going to preface this by telling you why. And he could wait as long as he wants, and everybody will hold him a scholarship. Yeah. But in this day and age with the transfer portal, athletes have to commit earlier.
Plus, the recruiting process is so expedited now with the early signing day that it's almost you're not a step. I mean, it feels like you're a step behind.
You're
if you
a step
don't
behind
enroll early in January.
If you plan on playing,
yes,
and if you plan on living up to your star ranking, but just in general, if you took the top 300 or the top 500 guys, you have to commit early. You have to be involved in this process early, whether it's through back channels and a silent commit or a public commit. So what I'm saying is, for a guy like Sanders, or even when Dylan came up and started to still come up and was committed to Georgia and stuff like that, and you start to see Nebraska, you're not just coming here to see Lincoln and all right, I came and I got a couple of pictures or whatever may happen on recruiting trips. It's truly an interest, and that lets you know and that's the Dylan Raiola effect. There's no difference between being the number one quarterback at one point in time and the number one offensive tackle the next year because you're number one.
Yeah.
You're when you're showing up on campus, your recruiting process and your thought on what's happening for you in college is different than I did.
I think
you
it
know
also,
what I'm saying?
I think it also just shows the trickle down effect that can be shadowed on a university and a program. If David Sanders doesn't end up coming to Nebraska, if he's treated well, that those guys talk.
They talk, and then also let's not forget the chances of somebody going to a university. Now I know Dylan will be here for 4 years or 3 or 4 years, but chances the majority of guys going some places and staying is slim and none.
Yeah.
And it's because things change. Coaching position coaches change. Quality of players usually come in, and maybe you get a little bit of injury bug, and then you kind of get passed by. So things change. So you're setting yourself up for present day in the future. And let's not forget, we had, what was it, Baker that ended up going to Texas last year? From he was out there at
he was
California.
He was from Mater Dei.
Yeah, California.
Out in California.
So it's not. So this is like you said, a trickle down effect. But then also, what's the best for people that are in sales? What's the best? Word of mouth.
There you go.
I mean, we're going to talk about an article where they talk about Matt Rule isn't playing fair. And reading that, what does that think? Automatically, it's like, oh, Matt Rule's breaking the rules, right?
Negative connotation.
Oh no, but it's not. It's letting you know he's not playing fair. He's putting everybody up on notice. We'll dive into a little bit of the Colorado issues as well, which is a directly the opposite of what we're going to talk about as far as playing fair. And we're talking about, you know what I mean?
While we're on the recruiting piece, Nebraska, and this is a question actually when I had a conversation with somebody a couple weeks ago. Nebraska, Dylan Raiola, obviously a true freshman. Why go after a quarterback? I know the answer, but I want you to give it.
Like in 25?
Yeah, so in 25 and 26, why go after a quarterback every single recruiting class?
Because that's just the way you need to make sure. Yeah, you can't have enough quarterbacks.
From a peer recruiting standpoint, from a nowadays in college football era transfer portal possibility.
Yeah.
Not that if TJ Lateef is the one that's being talked about, right? For Nebraska football in 2025. Highly rated guy, right? But it's if Dylan Raiola enters the portal, if Heinrich enters the portal, if anybody in that room decides to move on, or Nebraska decides to move on from anybody in that room, you're adding depth.
Yeah. You're adding depth. You're adding depth. You're adding competition, and it's another year after 2024. So you have to continue to do it. That room was depleted before Dylan came in and Daniel Kalen.
Yeah,
based on the transfer portal.
That's right.
So you can't just sit pat and say, oh, it's great that you have Dylan Raiola and he's going to play.
And we've seen that dramatic drop off so often in the last couple of years to where QB1 is serviceable. It hasn't been exceptional quarterback play.
Right.
QB1 has been serviceable. QB2 and 3 are in their kind of own little group, but way down in the serviceable rankings.
And what it tells you even more though, Nick, Matt Rule and staff are standing on their word, standing on business, like people like to say, is that we're going to go recruit.
Yeah.
And competition is here. So we're going to be competitive. We're going to go out and recruit them. And you're going to have another good quarterback that's going to have to go through the same process that Dylan Raiola and Daniel Kalen went through and see where he's at. Listen, Dylan, a quarterback with the potential, right? And the other thing that Dylan has that makes him a 5-star recruit, he has the pro life experience. So he's in a whole different atmosphere than everybody else. These type of quarterbacks don't come around all the time. So you just got to continue to recruit, even though you have it. You got to enjoy what you have it. You got to get the best out of them, but you got to make sure you continue to recruit at the position, in every position that's crucial. Whether it's Chase Lofton, we got Carter Nelson, Thomas Fedoni, Carter Nelson. They recruited. I was here, and they recruited Tony Ortiz. I just got here, won a spot, and here he comes. So what you're doing is you're trying to provide depth, build a program. You want to build a program that you're not rebuilding every 2 or 3 years. That's an FCS program. You want to be able to reload.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do. That's how you build a sustainable program, regardless if you're in the transfer portal era, regardless if you're in this generation X, Z, Y, or whatever they are that always change their mind and live in the moment. You want to be able to continue to have a sustainable, competitive, winning program.
Well, and now that we're talking about recruiting specifically, we're in transfer portal. We saw, I mean, the ratings are out where Nebraska is one of the fewest, is one of the universities that has the fewest number of guys that entered the portal and left Nebraska.
Yeah.
I think a big piece of that is you have to be consistent, like we just talked about, and then also consistent, upfront, transparent with your players, both current, former, incoming players, future recruits. Because then you can't get double crossed.
No,
like you can't. There's no miscommunication there.
Yeah, and that's one of probably part of the issues before is that well, first of all, the communication is good. I know recruits that they said the communication was bad prior,
and that goes back to that trickle down effect. Hypothetically speaking, with David Sanders, is if the staff is up front with him, and even if he doesn't elect to go to Nebraska, that word of mouth piece goes to other recruits
and his other coaches, everything. So I mean, and also for the future, your best seller is to say Nick's coming up and I'm a coach and say I had a kid that had a great experience at Nebraska, chose to go to whatever school, but I have a good relationship and I can trust the coaches no matter where they're at. I'm gonna send Nick Sainert there. So anyways, good first segment there for Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 76601 Pioneers Boulevard. We're going to take a quick break. Come back. We're going to talk about the scholarship numbers. I think we're at 98 after the vortex closed. Every year we're going to talk about it, and every year people are going to keep writing articles about it. We're going to talk about it a little bit, and then we're going to talk about how Matt Rule is playing quote unquote unfair, according to a recruit. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle. We'll be right back.
High schoolers, unleash your creativity and learn about potential careers in broadcasting at the Digital Expressions Media Camp. Have fun, make friends, and get hands-on experience with video and radio production June 9th through the 14th at the University of Nebraska at Kearney. Scholarships are available from the Nebraska Broadcasters Association, and spots are limited. Learn more at digitalexpressionscamp.com. That's digitalexpressionscamp.com.
Enrique Alvarez Clary, a.k.a. Rico, here for The Body Shop. What do you give someone who does so much for you every day? Well, I know what I did for my wife as an early Mother's Day gift. I got her a massage from The Body Shop. Her first ever massage was amazing. Her words, not mine. The deep tissue massage literally melted the stress away and left her feeling refreshed and fully relaxed afterwards. Get the special woman in your life the gift of a massage. Book one today at thebodyshoplincoln.com. The Body Shop at 48th and A. Soulful Casino in Havelock is a family-owned business, providing incredible food and service that'll have you craving more with every bite. Soulful Casino offers everything from pulled pork to fried chicken, catfish, ribs, and even quesadillas. You want sides? They've got them. From fries, green beans and baked beans, to collard greens, potato salad, and sweet dill corn. Stop by for lunch as they have specials Tuesday through Friday from 11 to 2 p.m. That's Soulful Casino, located in Havelock, where every bite you take fills the soul.
I'm Dave Osted.
And I'm Ryan Osted.
I think my first memory of golf is playing with my dad at a par 3 course. It was an absolute blast, and he always would have an ice cream hole. So if I got an 8 or less, we'd be going for ice cream.
My first memory of golf really focused on driving the golf cart, being able to drive that cart.
You were a crazy driver.
I was a crazy driver, but it was what I look forward to. And what's really funny now, when I take my kids out play golf, that is the one thing, along with the snack bar, that they are most excited about.
Focus on the good stuff. Play better, have fun, and shop Osted's.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
Now you can pre-order EA Sports College Football 25 for the release date of July 19th.
Who would be your top 3 Huskers to put on the cover, past and present?
Tommy, Sue.
I would put Lawrence Phillips, me personally. I would put Tom Osborne on another one. I think that'd be good. And then I would put Dylan and Tommy back to back on the cover.
I love it.
How's that sound?
Before he takes his first snap.
Exactly.
That's right.
The past, the future.
That's right.
Passing the baton.
Ooh, what a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh, yeah. This is a game changer.
Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
RC's boxing production is proud to present the new prospects at the Complex. Come enjoy a show of Lincoln's best professional and amateur boxers on Saturday, May 25th at the Complex, the former location of Champions Fun Center. Doors open at 6 p.m. with first bout at 7 p.m. Learn more about the boxers and buy tickets at thecomplexlincoln.com. You won't want to miss this event. It's the new prospects at the Complex on Saturday, May 25th at 1555 Yolanda Avenue, right off of Cornhusker Highway.
Homeowners, is your yard in distress? Is your lawn being held hostage by stubborn and unruly weeds? Never fear, lawn lovers. Weedman is here. We'll rescue your lawn and restore its beautiful emerald green glory. The results of our expertly applied program are sure to impress the toughest of critics, your neighbors. Take that, Dale. Vanquish weeds and transform your lawn this year with Weedman Lawn Care. Get 50% off your first application. Go to weedman.com today. Terms and conditions apply. Go to weedman.com today.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Ironhide Construction is a Nebraska-based general contracting and steel construction firm. Their expert team is experienced in building innovative construction solutions across several industries. While they were previously known for their extensive experience in steel erection and metal buildings, they've continued to evolve over the last several years into a full-service general contracting firm. They take pride in their commitment to quality, cutting-edge technology, and having a passion for what they do. For more information about their services or to discuss an upcoming project, visit www.ironhideconstruction.com or call 402-420-4961.
Back to Inside the Huddle, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging. Here is your host, Jay Foreman.
What up? We are back inside the huddle. Jay Foreman, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. They will handle all your medical imaging needs and set up a great game plan, a thorough game plan, thought out one that will help alleviate any pain or discomfort that you have. They've done a great by me. I always tell people I'm apprehensive to go to and trust doctors based on experience at the professional level, but Dr. Finn and Dr. Razin do a really good job. Honest guys, great communication. And we talked about that, and that kind of boils over. Look, how you run a football team is no different than how you run a business. How you deal with stressful situations is no different how you handle a big third down or so forth and so on. So from a leadership standpoint, they're doing a good job, just like Nebraska staff. And with that being said, led into the article that I sent Austin, and we just will talk about just the basis of what I sent you, Austin. 5-star recruit, which was great. Michael Terry, the receiver, came in for the spring game weekend just to check out Nebraska. And his quote was, Matt Rule is doing things not in a fair way. Now, when you read that, I'm like, we're in some trouble. But I knew, nice. I was like, I know Matt good enough to, and know of Matt. I don't know. I know him good enough that I know he's not breaking any rules or anything like that. But, Terry goes on to say that from Coach Rule, the support staff, the football staff, the whole deal, ball of wax, it's unfair compared to what he's been seen and being exposed to in this early part of his 5-star recruitment. Now, these are guys that the Ohio States and Ole Miss and Bama's and Georgia, those are going after. So coming to Nebraska and say that, listen, what he's telling you, he was more than pleasantly surprised, which I think always happens. You always go back from when Bo Pelini was talking about he didn't like to recruit, but he said you just got to get guys to Lincoln. I think you get guys to Lincoln and they are dumbfounded by, number one, the city of Lincoln, the things that are here, the people, and then obviously the whole ball of wax over there at the Big Red Project and the atmosphere here in Lincoln.
They absolutely are. And that's where I think the facilities, the fact that they're new is nice, but it all boils down to the people.
Yeah.
You can make do with good enough facilities, but if the people don't treat you right, they don't know your name, don't say hi to you, don't have a plan for you specifically in mind, then that's going to put a damper on everything.
Yeah.
Because as a parent, you don't know if you can trust your kid at that place. If you're a kid, I might be away from home for the first time. I need someone to look out for me. Like, I'm on my own. I'm confident in my abilities and I'm here to play football, but I know other stuff's going to pop up. So when I hear it's unfair how good Nebraska's people are, how far ahead Nebraska's people are in terms of treatment of recruits, that's in the best way possible. It makes you feel like the Dodgers, right? They're so far ahead, it's unfair in their farm system, in their analytics, in their research and development, where it's not a bad thing.
No, it's
how they get to the top.
Yeah, it's a great thing. And I always say you have to do things above and beyond. And when you're trying to close that gap of, the distance between right now in the short term distance between, say, us and Iowa, Wisconsin, and let's just say Penn State, right? Because I think Penn State is below the top 4 or 5, right? So our ultimate goal is to be up there with Ohio States and all that. But you got to knock off the people that are in front of you directly, and that's the way you do it. Now you got to recruit them. Then you got to be, true to your word, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why, when you look at the transfer portal numbers, very low. Some of the guys that jumped in there probably needed to jump in there. They've upgraded the roster, upgraded the competition, and I think they've also created more guys on the present day roster by the culture, atmosphere of earning your stripes every day. Therefore, there's some guys that drastically improved just by being held accountable to eating your meals, being on time, or, not just showing up, but being there with the intentions of being the best Jay Foreman, Austin Norman that you can be. The next thing you know, it becomes a way of life because they start to see the positive results. And so, everything that they're doing, leads to articles like this. Also, I think the facilities, I haven't been through the whole thing over there. But I watch, and this is funny. I love European soccer, and I love it because I like the documentaries because you get to see different coaching styles. Even though there's a language barrier, I'm reading their body language, how they're dealing with different players, and they are, even though they're highly paid professionals, accountability in culture is key. But they also have state-of-the-art facilities. That's really what they invest in, right? Mm-hmm. Because you have to have a facility that's not just for your top team, it's your farm system. The guys that are come all the way from teenagers. So you have to have essentially a city in your compound. Nebraska's over there is probably comparable and might be better than some of those facilities as far as what they're trying to do. And so when you come here and you see it and all the options, you have no choice but to think like, how good could I actually be? Because I have everything that I need. If I put in the work, there's no stop, there's no limit. And that's a selling point because of a lot of these guys. And when you're a 5-star recruit, you're showing up on campus and thinking about, okay, what could possibly be next?
Mm-hmm. There's a lot in that soccer analogy that I like. Number one, I think the biggest accountability piece on a team level is promotion relegation.
Yeah.
Right? That's just like a walk-on and a starter to some degree, right? If the walk-on performs and you're not, guess what? They'll elevate. You might be more talented. You might have a bigger name. But if you're not performing, you're going to get dropped down to the 2s and they're going to spring up and get some reps at the 1s.
Right.
So that should hopefully light that fire under your butt. It's not unfair, the what is coach doing? And that's where I think the standard that Matt Rule and his coaches have set of you have to button up on all the little details. He said it with Dylan in the spring game. It's not the big things with him. It's the little things. And not that we've heard, concern about the little things, but let's say that, Daniel Kalen starts really taking care of the little things and Dylan Raiola has a bad week, he's slipping. Guess what? Matt Rule's not going to hesitate to put Daniel Kalen above Dylan Raiola for reps.
Right.
Now, a competitor says, okay, yep, I got to tighten it up. I know it's difficult. Here's how I push through. I don't know this for a fact, but I wonder if that new standard and the emergence of guys like a Cam Lenhart, like a Riley Van Poppel, helped elevate Ty Robinson and Nash Hutmacher last year.
Well, look, when you see some young pups come in and they don't look any different than you and they're making plays, it better light a fire on your butt. And it should be there anyways. But when you start to see it, and you have coaches that are true to their word. I mean, Micaiah Bear, coming out of nowhere. I mean, he reshaped his body. You got a whole, like I said, you gained 2 players there. You got the one that you had and the one that he made himself in, and actually got 3. The one that actually showed up on Saturday.
We got the special teamer. You got the linebacker.
And you got the jack of all trades. You got a guy that, if I'm him, I'm thinking like, okay, Bullock's back, but I want to grab one of those starting spots because I'm starting to find my way into this system. He should be ahead of anybody coming in, even Thompson as well. So it's I love European soccer. You can even look at it the way that possibly college football could be. There's going to be a certain standard of facilities and support. You better have some diversity and all that stuff in your staff in order to play. If there is this kind of European soccer, like where you got to win your way up, they're going to look at everything. Because I think if you're going to be up there with the big dogs, you're going to have a standard. I think as far as the facilities and the way that they're doing things over there, that Nebraska's I think ahead of the curve. And that's where we were when I was there, where the emphasis on the weight program and speed, bigger, faster, stronger, we took it really serious, but you had to do it. And I think me and Nick talked about in the first segment, Austin, when you create a culture of peer regulation, peer accountability, peer, I call it movement, peer pressure, a good peer pressure. The coaching, then the pressure goes on the coaches, because then the coaches can spend all their time of, oh man, I can come up with all these crazy schemes. And that's what you want. And that's what we're able to do, and then when it has to come together, like we talked about a few years ago, where Alabama's leadership had to go to the coach, say this dude needs to go because he was, late to curfew. And it probably, that was probably his last straw. Right. But get him out of here because we're focused on one goal. That's where you start to build that championship. You get the championship trophies. That is a product of the championship mentality that they're trying to build right now. And that leaves in roster retention and stuff like that. I know that, part of the other article that we're talking about, we're at 98 scholarships. 85 is the NCAA standard. Every year we're going to be over at this time. And every year we'll find a way to get under 85 or get it to 85 or whatever.
Right. Again, that might be unfair to the outside as well, that Nebraska's created a culture so positive that guys have a hard time leaving. And means a hard conversation for the coaches to have.
Yeah.
Right. Whether you don't have to leave, but your scholarship is gone. Yeah. Right. Feel free to stay, be a walk-on. There's a spot for you.
Yeah.
But to have that many guys want to stick around, bought into the same purpose, the same vision of moving forward and improving, that's a difference maker too.
Yeah, and it's because you actually get to develop guys both on the field and off the field relationships, right? And from coach to player. I don't need to be your friend. I'm your coach. We were friends late. I'm friends with Coach McBride now. Back then, it was player, and I'm looking up to leadership standpoint. Also, to tell you, also the tricky part of that is you don't want guys to stay because it's easy or comfortable because you get all this nice stuff.
Right.
I want every guy, ideally, you'd want every guy in your team that wants to be the best that they can be and thinking about, I'm going to exhaust all my options so I have the slight chance to get to the professional level. If you had 98 guys like that or 85 guys like that, we in national championships. Now that some guys are like, hey, I went to college. I want to go I played with guys that, Phil Ellis could easily have played in the NFL. He wanted to go and do his thing. And we went back home. He's an engineer and he's doing great. That's just what it is. But what he did was he played like it though. He played like he was going to the NFL and he was a great player here. And so that's where you're able to, have that championship mentality. I think the 98 and the scholarship thing, I think with the whole NIL and stuff like that, I don't know how they're able to do it, but they find a way to get under it. And it's kind of like now football teams have to do what the non-revenue generating teams had to do years past, where they, say you have a roster of 16 wrestlers and you only got 14 and a half scholarships because of Title IX or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then you gotta have to find a way to divvy it up, and that's why you got to make sure guys are academically eligible, because you could be you could be eligible for some scholarships and grants and stuff like that. So when you're talking about running a football team, it's a business as well,
mm-hmm.
or a corporation. Let's
mm-hmm.
not call it a business. It's more of a corporation. So everybody has to be on point. So if me and you are up in the scholarship counting area, we got to be on point.
Mm-hmm.
We got to know, all right, what's the possibility of so-and-so leaves, and this person probably, what if coaches want to put him on scholarship? What can he be exposed to as far as NIL and all that other stuff? So it's a corporation. That's where you think like Sean Patton comes in, and he has to do a really good job. And so, like I said before, like on Old School, I think as college football starts to go to this Super League, those GM positions is going to be hand in hand with the coaches.
They already are to some degree, and that's where again.
But I'm talking about the pay scale now.
Right? Sure.
Yeah, I won't be your. I'll be your brother in arms, but let's be brothers in paychecks as well.
Make it worth my while to stand beside you.
Yeah. We'll be hand in hand. We'll be locked in, man. So, I mean, I think it's just look. I mean, Nebraska's doing everything that they can right now to put themselves in a position to be successful. We talked this off season right now, which is, ideally I would have liked to see, guys continue to improve and work out and, stay in the gym at least a couple times a week so you don't lose your edge. Starts now. You want to win that first game against UTEP and have this season and get to a bowl game. There is no time off. We're not good enough to do that.
No.
Yeah. And we got as much as we got going in the right direction. Look, there hasn't been a lot of true freshman quarterbacks starting. Go to the places that, the players are saying they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody else outside of those little wet behind the ears, little rookie punks need to play better.
Well, I think that's the exact point, is that either it's because of a freshman quarterback, right, that still needs a year of seasoning behind veterans, or the quarterback is that good and the rest of the roster hasn't caught up.
Yeah.
If Dylan is that good, if he's legit, if he's as advertised, the rest of the roster needs to catch up for Nebraska to go where it needs to, or vice versa. If Dylan's not quite ready, the rest of the roster, since it is pretty veteran, step up, carry him through the first month till he gets rolling.
Yeah, it's a catch-22, and I'd like to have both.
Right.
Except for I don't want my true freshman to be my best player. I want him to be one of my best players, but I want my best players to bring him along, and then I want him to raise his level of play, and then I want the veterans to raise their play, and then ideally at the end of the season, everybody's pissed off because you don't get to play any more games.
Right.
And you're thinking like, dang, I wish I had another year. That's what you want. And that's hopefully what they're striving for. But we're going to take a quick break, come back. Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. Jay Foreman, we'll be right back.
Hey, Husker Nation, Matt Davison here with 1890. It's an exciting time to be a Husker fan, and to keep that momentum going, we need your help. Nebraska has always been a leader in college athletics, and we're doing the same through name, image, and likeness. NIL is a unique opportunity for every Husker fan to have a direct impact on the success of our programs. Through 1890, 100% of your contribution goes to the student athletes. So go to 1890nebraska.com, choose your sport, become a member, and help the Huskers recruit and retain the best. Go Big Red.
Put lawn irrigation on automatic. Think Judson Irrigation for worry-free service to Lincoln homeowners and business community. Judson Irrigation will turn on your sprinkler system in the spring, repair or redesign as needed, and turn it off in the fall. For service to orphan sprinklers, remember Judson Irrigation. They'll never forget you.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage, 402-420-6277, or judsonirrigation.com.
School tells you all about the four seasons: spring, summer, and so on. And then there's a way we really tell what time of year it is. Sports seasons, football season, baseball season, or even off season. Well, what's the chocolate season? Well, it's now, of course. And now And now, and always, whether you're looking for a caffeinated pick-me-up on the way to work, a little snack on the way home, or you need the perfect gift that's sure to be appreciated, it's time for the chocolate season, y'all. 40th and Old Cheney, or order ahead at thechocolatseason.com. See you there.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars: Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Problem gambling is not just a financial issue. It's an emotional problem with financial consequences. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Liberty Law Group is committed to the pursuit of justice for those that have been injured. My name is Eric Hagan, attorney with Liberty Law Group. If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, call 877-42-LIBERTY. Our detail-oriented trial attorneys are committed to the highest quality legal representation. At Liberty Law Group, we will fight for you. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Once again, that's 877-42-LIBERTY.
Hi, this is State Senator Carolyn Bozin. Education is a cornerstone to building a strong, vibrant community. I voted for the historic increase in funding for education in the legislature. As a state senator, wife, and mom, I believe Lincoln is a great place to work and raise a family. My husband Reggie and I are local business owners and understand the valuable role of education in our community. This is Carolyn Bozin, and I am asking for your vote on May 14th, paid for by Bozin for Legislature.
Are you looking to get into the electrical construction industry or wanting a new scene? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
At Southeast Community College, community is our middle name. Our continuing education classes offer personal interest, traffic safety and licensing, online learning, and adult education classes across Southeast Nebraska or online in your own home. Learn pottery or floral design. Take a computer course. Learn Spanish, how to start writing a book, or Air Fryer 101. See the full schedule of continuing education classes online at southeast.edu/continuing. SCC, your path to possible.
Hi, I'm Senator Bo Ballard. I was born and raised in Lancaster County, learning the value of hard work and grit at a young age. I built my own company, creating jobs right here in our community. I know that families and businesses in our community need lower taxes, lower cost of healthcare, and a great education. That's why, as your senator, I helped pass the largest tax cut and made the most significant investment in education in Nebraska history and worked to reduce the cost of healthcare. I'm Senator Bo Ballard, and I humbly ask for your vote on May 14th. Paid for by Ballard for Nebraska.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
You're listening to Inside the Huddle with Jay Foreman, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
We're back. Quick segment. Jay Foreman. Inside the Huddle brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. Look them up. Great communication. They'll get you in there pretty quick, too. I got to talk to Dr. Razan and Finn. I need a VIP pass. I need a fast. Was it fast? What is it when you go to Disney? Fast track?
The fast pass?
Yeah, I need a fast pass.
Do you have the 10 punch card?
Yeah,
10
I've already
get one free.
I've already exceeded that. But anyways, again, as we said at the beginning of the show, want to wish everybody a happy Mother's Day. It's obviously, Austin, first time is the first time for you to, actually have official Mother's Day. So it's probably exciting for you. And everybody else out there, have a good, blessed day. I told my basketball team, we had the weekend off. I said, be nice to your moms.
Mhm.
They're 16 years old because they're at the punk stage, where parents don't know anything.
Coach doesn't know anything.
No, definitely coach don't know anything. Don't appreciate much, but hopefully today they're all executing the only game plan that they had this weekend, which is hopefully be nice to their moms. And so, look, man, there's a lot of people. We talk, a lot of sports on here. Moms and dads. But today's Mother's Day, and we'll have the same thing on Father's Day. That look, they've had a big influence on the world of sports, and it's a great story, great day. But ultimately, it's a great honor for them to be moms, and so we wish them all the best today. And we wish that, the Timberwolves the best tonight, too. That's to make this a great Mother's Day. We need listen, Ant-Man's going to come with it tonight.
Let's see the bounce back.
Yeah, Ant-Man. We need that get back so we have something great to talk about tomorrow on Old School. But appreciate you tuning in. The post spring, the gray area off-season edition. Inside the Huddle, Jay Foreman, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. We'll holler at you next week.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great